Okay, we're live.
We are alive.
Das alive.
Staying alive. Oh, sorry.
John, so are you in Germany? You still have a red curtain.
Hey, Germany got rid of their red curtain about over 20 years ago.
No, that was an iron curtain, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm in Berlin now. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm sticking with the colored curtains. So
Nice.
yeah.
Well, I won't have to avert my eyes this week at least because the glow is not too bad yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, is there a public link that we can share for this thing? 'Cause there were some people that were wanting to watch. How do I
Are they all Signal Leave customers?
Probably.
Wow.
I think it got tweeted on our account automatically on our Entrepreneur. Or no, is it linked up to the YouTube? I don't know if it is.
I think it gets posted to Google Plus.
It does that. It definitely does that. Yep.
And then everybody who's following us can do it.
Oh, suddenly Google Plus is not working.
But yeah, I'm in Berlin. It's an interesting city. I like it. It's pretty cool. It's surprisingly cheap.
Really?
Yeah, you would not believe. Like, there's like this grocery store that we just like right next to the house that we're staying at, and I went down there today to buy some groceries, and I bought groceries that would have cost like in the U.S. I'm guessing around $80, like $70 to $80.
Yeah.
And it was like 27 euros.
Wow.
So at Walmart, it would have cost $80, right? And it was
Right.
27 euros. And it was better produce, better like all fresh stuff. So it's actually food is extremely cheap here, which is I expected it to be more expensive in Berlin, but it's not. In Paris, it's extremely expensive, but.
And that's actually in a city too.
Yeah, and I'm in the heart of the
Suburbs.
city.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. They have some pretty awesome food here too. It's like Berlin is like this huge cultural mixing pot of Europe, I guess. So there's like there's actually a huge Turkish population here. So doner kebab is like a huge thing here, like everywhere. So it's doner kebab, gyro, and what's the other one? Shawarma are basically all the same thing.
Okay.
So they all came from doner kebab, but so I was able to get some pretty good Turkish food, which is pretty cool. From like vendors, like they have like these little shops, not exactly street vendors, but these little shops, like a sandwich for like $3. Like it's €3, so like what, $3.30 US, something like that. But pretty cool.
I'm not
Awesome.
seeing the video for this on the Entreprogrammers page.
Let me see if I can pull it up. It should just be on the Google Plus, like.
Yeah, I'm looking for it and I'm not seeing it.
I wonder if you can, like, if you just go to this watch video, if this will, like, if this will work.
I found it. It's
Okay.
on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So how long are you guys in Berlin then? Or is that where you're going to be staying most of the time?
No, we're just here for 3 weeks, and then we go to. We're going to be flying into Western Ireland and then drive into Dublin. So.
Nice.
But yeah, we've been here like in Berlin it's been almost a week. We've been walking about like 10 to 14 miles a day, exploring the city. Pretty nice city. It's different. It's totally different than Paris. Like it's you can tell it's a very war-torn city. Like that's been rebuilt. Lots of crazy playgrounds with all kinds of like crazy wooden equipment. Like you know the kind of playgrounds that probably when we were kids, like you know,
Yeah.
the big metal slides, right?
Yes,
Right.
like a real playground.
The
Yes.
actual playground.
Yes.
Yeah, merry-go-rounds and
Right.
jump
Yes.
ropes and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
so multiply that times like 1.7, and that's what they have here. So
Okay.
it's like crazy like, but it's pretty awesome. My daughter's loving it. Like they just have these huge play structures and stuff. Oh, and I was
Nice.
wrong about the Diet Coke. So it's just I don't want to like piss off French people, but It's a French thing.
Okay.
It's a prudish thing, I suppose. And here, like, it's cheap. Diet Coke is cheap.
Okay.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know
Well,
if
maybe it's that high quality French Diet Coke. It's aged to perfection.
There we go.
Yes, totally.
Aged to perfection. I love it.
Aged in port wine barrels for 25
Yes.
years. And hand carbonated as they bring it to your table.
Did I mention last week the toilet situation in Paris?
No.
Oh, I forgot to mention. So it's gosh, again, I'm just gonna piss off Paris people, but they're
pretty much
they're
always
kind of
mad.
they're
Anyway,
kind of
so.
yeah they're kind of mad. They're kind of dirty. They're dirty.
I've heard that from a lot of people.
Public restrooms?
Any restroom. I have one of my coworkers and my client has been to Paris a number of times, and he cannot stand using restrooms in Paris at all. Doesn't matter where you go.
If you can even find one.
Yeah,
right.
that's the thing.
Yeah, because first of all, just finding one is just ridiculous, right? There's a few public ones that are like these self-cleaning facility, but and then
Quote,
like
self-cleaning, right?
right? And if you
Clean it yourself, which
if you go to cafes, all the cafes say like you have to be for customers only. I'm like, okay, well, here's my 4-year-old. She's gonna go in there, so. And then, but then inside it's just like, I don't know, like I guess like junior high school like level of cleanliness, like without a janitor, like all over the walls and like what the heck. And then we're like, so we went to like McDonald's. Is that okay? McDonald's Paris, right? You know, that's kind of the big. So you have to have like a receipt to get in to the door to the bathroom or whatever to show that you've purchased something. Right, so it's like this kind of crazy. It's like, okay, seriously. And then, and my wife took my daughter in there, and she was like, yeah, the McDonald's was probably the worst bathroom I've ever seen in my life. So I was like, I can't even believe McDonald's would like allow that.
Wow.
And they're all men and women bathrooms, right? There's no separate ones. They're all. So I'm like, wow. And then it's just crazy. We went to this at the Louvre. They had this bathroom where you had to pay €1.50 and then it was like a fancy one, and it was like a primo, but everything else was just like total, like, you know.
That sounds like Italy. Did you get any of the toilets that were just like two places to put your feet and a hole in the ground?
Oh, the Turkish toilets, there's a hole in the ground. Yeah, I didn't encounter any, but
no, they're flush toilets, but they're basically a big dish like the bottom of a shower with two places to put your feet, and they're for men and women, so the women just have to go and stand where your feet go the other way and squat over the hole. And that's great for the podcast. Yeah, what you're envisioning, listener, is exactly what it is. And then you pull the chain to flush it when you're done.
But it just shocked the hell out of me because like you go into this fancy cafe and then or restaurant, and it's like, and then like. You know, my wife was like,
graffitied.
The chef just came out and he didn't wash his hands. He just like,
oh my gosh.
Like, okay, it's just like, I don't understand. Like the level of cleanliness in Paris is just, it's a different. It just surprises me because like it's so. But I'm happy to report Berlin is totally different. Berlin is much more what I would expect: men and women separate restrooms, clean restrooms. Most like you don't have to pay. There's like a donation dish if you that flies with me. So that's So we're out of the Paris is a interesting, beautiful city, but I am just surprised by the inhabitants. We also got like accosted by gypsies, like
oh man.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not supposed to use the word gypsy. Well, anyway, but. Anyway,
is that not politically correct?
I guess it's not. Roma or whatever. I don't know. These were gypsies, so.
Itinerant wanderers.
Yeah, there's this scam. So this is interesting. If you go to Europe, I actually saw it here too. Like a different version of it. So deaf person pretends like they're deaf, right? Holds up this billboard. They want you to sign, or this form. They want you to sign a petition, right?
Okay.
And of course. You know, I'm just a rude a-hole anyway, so I don't give anyone money and I don't sign any crap. So I don't care if you beg me, I'm not giving you money. And so what they apparently do is, I mean, I identified like, well, my stereotype trigger went off when I saw someone pretending to be deaf with a clipboard, and then suddenly they started speaking, but I didn't touch their clipboard. But then I watched, and another tourist came by and grabbed the clipboard, and now you've got the clipboard in one hand and a pen in the other. Well, guess what? You're not protecting your pockets, so they're just like pickpocketing them.
Oh man! So did you actually see it happen?
Yeah, and then I warned the guy, like I saw them, like, because there's a group of them, right? There's one person with the clipboard and then a couple other that passed by. So I was like, it's a scam. And he's, what? What? It's a scam. You're gonna pick your pockets. But they're just doing that all day long. Like they must get like hundreds of tourists every day. So
wow.
Yeah, definitely different. It's a total different mentality. Like here in some of these, like just like what can you get away with? Type of thing. You just got to be on your guard, I guess. It's different. Like, I mean, it's not that you don't have to be on your guard in U.S. cities, but in a different way. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but
yeah, we got surrounded by a swarm of gypsies in Rome when my parents came and picked me up. So it was me and my mom and dad, and I'm like warning my dad, and then I'm telling them to beat it in Italian. As soon as you talk to them in Italian, because we looked like tourists. So the second I told them to beat it in Italian, they all like, whoa, I know what's going on, and they left. It was pretty funny. But there were like 6 of them and 3 of us.
Oh yeah. It's interesting, and just the way, like, I've been accosted by beggars a couple of times that, like, gypsy beggars that are like, they just won't stop. They're just like, just keep on asking you for money, like, not like a homeless person in the U.S. that's like, get some change or whatever. They're just like constantly like just following you around and asking you for money, like, and
they're trying to distract you so their friend can come in and pick
your
pocket. Yeah, it's a pretty common thing.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times like, and I guess like, I noticed that some people started asking for like $2.50 euro. And I think it's because that's an amount where you have to pull out your wallet, or like, I'm trying to figure out exactly why, but they were asking for, because there's $2 euro coins, right? And so like the chances of someone having, I think, 250, I don't know, but I don't give anybody anything, so as soon as someone asks me questions, I'm immediately suspicious. So
yeah, sounds like you're having fun though.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely interesting. We saw Checkpoint Charlie, where the Berlin Wall was, and we saw like some pretty cool sights here. Rode the subway in Paris and in Berlin, and been just walking a lot. So
you're gonna put on like 10 pounds just going home and like eating normally.
Exactly.
Like 12 miles a day.
Yeah.
That's like that. How many calories would that would have to be like?
It's not very many.
Probably like 2.
According to my watch, it's like, for me, it's like around. I'm doing an extra 1,200 calories or something.
Yeah.
1,200 or so.
Yeah.
So it's not a huge amount, but.
Yeah, exercise doesn't burn a ton of calories like most people think it does.
Yeah.
Exercise is for heart health, muscle health, strength, and endurance. But if you want to lose weight from calories, you got to eat better.
P90X
Don't tell me that.
burns like crazy. P90X like intensity levels burns 600 calories an hour, I think.
Yeah, and then
that's like 3 Oreos.
Yeah, but that's also impossible to maintain for an hour straight.
Yeah.
Well, and if you do, running can burn like 600 calories an hour, like
until your body acclimates to it.
Well, the thing is, you got to subtract out your base calories you would be burning if you were just sitting on the couch for an hour as well. So that's like another 200. So you end up actually netting like a 400 extra calories. So it's really exercise. Yeah. Oh, here, another interesting thing about Europe in general. I thought it was Paris. It's more so in Paris, but smoking. Like everybody smokes. It's crazy. Like that was a shocker for me. Like you go outside and like everyone's smoking.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that it varied from city to city when I was in Europe, but
Copenhagen was
a lot more people.
A lot of smokers in Copenhagen when I was there.
Yeah,
Bulgaria, surprisingly, I didn't see as much. And then London, I wasn't really paying attention. Probably not in London so much.
But you would think with like universal healthcare systems and whatnot that smoking would be basically like heavily taxed or fined, like because
why care for yourself?
Well, because it's the number one like killer cost, right? Like the number one medical expense in the world is.
Yeah, but who cares? It's not my expense.
Well, I mean, the government you would think would regulate would put steep heavy.
They're probably taxing the cigarettes.
Yeah.
They're probably getting it on both ends.
Oh, I
taxing
see.
the cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. I was surprised how much there was, and around children and babies and all, like, doesn't matter, like. So yeah.
So basically, we have an entire continent hating us now.
yes,
pretty much.
Basically.
Dirty bathrooms and dirty air.
Yeah, just wait till they hear what we say about the U.S., though. Jeez.
But yeah, it's trying to think of any other shockers. I think that's the most part. Like, you know, obviously you guys probably have heard of, like, you know, eggs are not put in the refrigerator in Europe, most European countries.
Mm-hmm.
Eggs are not like a food poisoning risk or anything either, so.
It depends on. Well, it depends on. Like, I guess in the U.S. we wash the eggs right before, so we take off, like, the way that we handle them. They should be refrigerated because of salmonella risk. But in Europe,
the way that we handle them is so poor that we have to wash them and keep them refrigerated. Otherwise, we will end up with salmonella.
Exactly. Yeah. That's basically. Yeah. There we go. See, we can knock the U.S. as well. So.
Same thing with vegetables. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We shouldn't really be getting poisoned from human feces contaminating vegetables, but that happens surprisingly commonly in the U.S. That's weird. So
hopefully no one's listening to this while they're eating lunch.
Yeah.
There are some people watching though.
Gosh. We're sorry. We apologize. Yeah. So, John, are you pretty much just... Oh, I wanted to ask you how your paid traffic experiment is going.
Like with the AdWords?
Yeah. So you were doing AdWords, and were you doing AdWords and Facebook both?
No, I was doing some AdWords. I had a guy that was doing an AdWord campaign for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We couldn't get good results, like, because it didn't appear that it was working out very well. We couldn't get a good correlation because basically the way my account was set up, or the way my analytics was set up, it was looking like we weren't getting good tracking. It was looking like you'd go from Simple Programmer to Dev Career Boost domain to sign up for the thing, and then it would redirect you back to Simple Programmer. So it was looking like a like a bounce.
Yeah.
So there is probably, I need to change the way that the tracking was going, but I didn't see enough of a spike in signups to think it was worth it. So I've decided to put it on hold until I can get my tracking better. So,
yeah. So you were doing the blogging course signups?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah,
okay.
The blogging course. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that tracking thing is such a pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. If I could get that entire thing solved, that would definitely be awesome. But.
Yeah, probably just sticking with one domain would be the thing to do, not bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, and you can set it up, I mean, to work against multiple domains, but yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And you're pretty much just still doing. I saw the blog posts. You're still doing some blog posts, but everything else is just kind of on hold.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing the blog posts, and I've got the YouTube videos coming out automatically, pretty much. I'm recording a few here, and then I've got Get Up and Code episodes that I'm recording, and then answering email. So I don't know, but I've been thinking about, like, I was supposed to write a blog post today. I was thinking about not writing for a while. I just don't feel like it. I got whatever Chuck had.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's catchy, huh?
Yep. I just feel like not doing anything at all. So I don't know. I'll have to see if I'm going to keep blogging while I'm here. It's only like 1 day a week, so I should just suck it up and do it. But
you can write the obligatory "I don't feel like blogging" blog post, which basically every blogger writes at least once.
I've already done that.
I know.
Yeah, I wrote a blog post. Like it wasn't too long ago. So why I'm not writing a blog post this week? So
yeah.
Yeah. So
why I'm reposting the blog post about why I'm not writing a blog post this week.
I think part of it is just walking around like for 10 to 15 miles a day, and like even though you're quote on vacation, like it's still a lot of work and effort, right? It's like it's not like sitting on a couch. So I guess I'm probably don't feel like I don't feel like I'm all fresh and ready to work. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, sometimes for me, if I've had a change of pace for a week or two, it's hard to get back. It's just hard to get into that space.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know. I guess I figure. I mean, I need to let go a little bit and just like whatever happens. I'm here for 3 months, and then maybe I'll end up. My lifting routine is going to be screwed. I'm probably not going to be running as much as I thought I was going to run, but my foot's been injured, so. Damage control is the name of the game, I think, at this point, right? And it's like, and then if I can hopefully I can keep my blogging schedule and everything going, but if I can't, then, again, damage control, and then when I get back, then I can get things more in order, so.
Yeah, that's just a long time to be out of your routine, man.
Yeah, see, I thought about I wanted to do to get the routine going here, but I don't know. I've been thinking because I thought, well, what if I want to do a nomad type of lifestyle? Then I have to figure out how to make things work, right? Like I have to have a portable workout routine. I have to have this. But I've thought about it but there's two things I've been thinking about. One is that I'm only staying places for a couple of weeks at a time or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So if I was staying somewhere for one place for 3 months, I would just go find a gym. I would get a routine. You'd have enough time to establish that. I did when I went to Hawaii for 2 months. That was I had a routine totally. And the other thing is maybe I won't be doing a nomad type of thing. I don't know. I'll know by the end of this 3 months whether this is something that I want to do or not. But yeah, it's definitely. I definitely have appreciation for having being in the same place. There's something about having a routine. As boring as a routine is, it keeps you. It's very hard to reach goals and to keep on track if you don't have a routine. So.
Yeah, I think
that's one reason. Sorry, go ahead, Chuck.
I was just gonna say. I mean, a lot of it. Yeah, you'll have to figure out how to carry it around with you. So your weightlifting, instead you could take resistance bands or something. I mean, so you basically solve the problem by making it portable. And but even then, you're going to be in a different place. You're going to be going to different, doing different things in those places and stuff like that. But yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and I've got resistance bands I brought with me and stuff. It just hasn't been. I don't know. I guess we've been going around and sightseeing and stuff, so that makes it hard to plan things. So for now, what I've done is I've blocked off Fridays and made Fridays be my work day, and so I'll at least be able to do the call this call and then the other stuff. So what about enough about me? What about you guys? What is going on?
I want to talk about Signal Leaf.
Yeah, let's talk about Signal Leaf.
That's the last thing I want to talk about. Actually, do want to mention before we get into that, my Watch Me Code RabbitMQ bundle. By the time this episode is released on the podcast, it'll be live. And for the 4 people that are currently watching on YouTube, bonus for you, the URL for anybody that's interested in that RabbitMQ stuff is going to be watchmecode.net/RMQ4devs and the number 4 instead of the word 4. And then there's going to be a nice discount code that I'm sending out on my mailing list and Twitter and whatnot. If anybody is familiar with Monty Python and the Holy Grail, there is a rabbit in that movie called the Caerbannog. It's spelled Caerbannog, Caerbannog. It's the Monty Python and the Holy Grail rabbit. That's the discount code to get $50 off of off of the complete package for Rabbit MQ. So for the 4 people that are watching, you can get it early because
if you can spell that, and
if you can spell Caerbannog, then you are totally in. But what I'm doing with that though is I'm only giving the discount code for the top level package, and it's $50 off, so it'll bring it down to $199. And I'm doing that because I don't want to dilute the sales too much. Also, because I want to make it better for people that are looking at like the mid-range package to get the screencast and ebook, and I want those people to say, oh, with this discount code, it's just going to be a few extra dollars to get the full package, so that'll bump them up to buying the full package instead of the lower one. But I tried to set up the packages so that everything is reasonably priced for what's in the package, but also so that it's more attractive to get something slightly more expensive in order to bump people up that chain and make more sales that way.
Yep. That's interesting. I haven't seen someone do that before, but I think that makes a lot of sense. Like, I've never seen a sale on just a top level one, but that makes a whole lot of sense to me. I'm real curious to see how that works out, because that gives that extra incentive to push you up to that level. So
I'm hoping it works. It'll be interesting to see what's happening on Monday. I still have to write. I've spent all week not writing at all for this thing, and I still have to write all my emails for next week for the launch week. I have everything up to the It's Live done and scheduled, including the URL and discount code in that email. But then I need to write some emails for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then I need to write the last day emails, last chance emails for Friday as well. But I think those will be easy. I've actually got some pretty good stories, some conversations that Rob Connery and I have had over email in the last couple of days have basically been blog post quality of materials, and I think I'm going to turn at least some of that into one email, if not more.
Nice.
Derek, I want to jump in here and say that I think that's a bad idea with the discount. Honestly.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, we've had this discussion before, but I just...
I don't remember this.
Well, not about this specifically, but yeah, discounting in general. You're not going to... There's only so many people that are going to buy that top package. Period. Like, you're not gonna get somebody who wants the bottom one to buy the top one, or it'll be what's the middle one? What's the price on that going to be? 150.
That's going to push them up. If you're going to spend 150, you're going to spend 200.
Yeah, you might. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're going to lose. But then you're also going to lose the urgency on the lower two packages, and it's basically, you're going to lose sales on that for sure.
Yeah.
I think you're going to lose money, because you're going to, if you get the pricing right, you should end up with 3 basically equal piles of money based on the volume, and you're basically cutting off those lower 2 tiers by not offering any discount. It can definitely be a smaller discount. I think that's a good idea, actually. Put the biggest percentage incentive to buy the highest package.
Mm-hmm.
But there should be something that you can hype up that's that puts some urgency into it. So I just thought I'd mention that, because I've had too many experiences lately where I thought something, it didn't say it strongly enough, and then regretted it afterwards. So.
So Josh, with what you're saying, like I totally agree with you. The lower tiers, I think that he's going to basically shut out the lower tier sales almost completely. Like, no one's going to buy the level 1 and level 2.
Yeah.
But I think he'll increase the level 3 sales, and more than enough to make up for it.
This is the discussion that I was referring to that we've had before.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know a way to test this other than to A/B test it, which we're not set up to do really at our scale.
Have any of us done this though?
It's a strategy I'm using with how to market yourself, except that I don't have the lower tiers. You see what I'm saying? So it's essentially the same. It's almost the same thing. The lower tiers it's like you're doing what I'm doing, except that you have one additional price anchor in those lower tiers. right?
Yeah.
Because you essentially have one price at this point. Because why would you buy the
Right.
lower tiers? It doesn't make any sense. Like you're getting $50 off,
Right, but there are only. I just went through this with my other client. Like, there's only so many people that are going to buy to
Right.
spend $200 on RabbitMQ. Period.
Yeah.
Like, and you got to hit. You're not going to convince somebody who has $39 worth of interest in RabbitMQ to spend $200. You're just not. Like, I mean, price anchoring is real and it works and stuff, but it's like a percentage thing. It's like it's a marginal improvement. It's not like an exponential improvement. You're not going to it's not a magic trick. You're not going to turn a $39 buyer into a $200 buyer.
But like, what's your lowest tier, Derek?
50.
50. But a $50 buyer. Right. Okay. So maybe it's not. Okay. So if you can, okay, if what you're doing causes you to lose 3 lower tier buyers, $50 buyers, but causes you to gain 1 higher tier buyer, then it's net positive, right?
Yeah. Well, it's
no.
even.
It's only net positive if it breaks even if you get a $50 person up to a $200 person, which is not going to happen.
Not necessarily, because remember, if you have lower tiers, then sometimes the lower tiers, like forget the sale part. Like take my How to Market Yourself course. If I offered a lower tier at $50, some people who would have paid $200 will say, well, I'll just get the book and then pay $50. So he's kind of preventing a lot of that with this. That's why I don't know. That's why I've always been against the tiers.
But how many people? So if you look at the 80-20 curve, the number of people at the lower ends, it's like exponentially more. You're not going to get. It's not going to be like 1 more person buys your lower tier. It's going to be like 10 more people buy your lower tier.
It depends on the thing. Right? Okay, so if you had toilet paper sale and you had your $1 a roll toilet paper and your $5 roll and your $10 roll toilet paper, right? Then totally agree with you, right? The number of people that buy the $1 roll toilet paper is going to be over 10 times the amount of people that buy the $10 roll toilet paper. But if it's something like let's say a Tesla, right? An expensive car or something like that, right? It might actually skew the other way, right? That people are more likely to buy the more people would buy the more expensive package, and lowering or discounting the price doesn't matter.
But you've still got that same dynamic because you've got the number of people who buy a Tesla versus the number of people who buy a Chevy. It's not really any different. It's just it's a little tiny slice of the market.
It's who you send the ad to, right? So, like in Derek's case, he's got a very specialized targeted thing. So, someone who has no interest in RabbitMQ, there's no bargain shopping here, right? Someone's not bargain shopping and saying, oh, well, I can get RabbitMQ information cheaper here. They're like, this is like a very specialty item. So, I think if you're going to pay for it, you're going to pay for it. Like, it doesn't matter. The pricing doesn't matter as long as you can afford it in your budget. I'm going to buy the thing because I need the thing, versus something
but the pricing does matter, as we learned 2 or 3 weeks ago with the consulting bundle.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm worried about here. Is people.
If you can afford it, though.
What do you mean?
Well, what I'm saying is that that price might have been too high in general.
Well, that one was too high because it required management approval, which required weeks of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this is well within the, I was a standard employee. I could just whip out a credit card and get reimbursed for it.
So okay. So based on what you're saying, Josh, like just to run a scenario, because I'm not totally disagreeing with you, because you but I want to kind of play this out because this is an interesting experiment. So Derek is giving a 25% off to the high tier.
Mm-hmm.
If he gave a 15% off to the middle tier and a 10% off to the lower tier, right? Then that's what maybe would be a good scheme. Like, how would that compare against just doing the 50% off to the higher tier?
I mean, that's kind of what I'm suggesting, is that do a discount for each level. Make it. You can make it. I mean, you can't do $50 off across the board, right? Because you're not going to have anything there on the lower tier. So, I mean, something like $5, $10, $50.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense. It's still, proportionate to the size of the purchase. It's a significant incentive, and I think that's going to maximize it over just having one tier or just having the discount on one tier.
I guess that considering the pricing, I guess it probably makes. I guess I wouldn't totally disagree with that, because $50 is one. Like the lowest tier it requires 4 sales of the lowest tier to make up 1 sale of the high tier, which is not insignificant. But if the lowest tier was $20, then to me I wouldn't even waste my time trying to get anyone to buy that. I would just use that as an anchor point, because you have to get so many people to buy that to even make to make up for 1 sale a loss on the higher tier. Because anytime you offer a lower tier and any incentive on the lower tiers, you have to realize that just the same way that you're trying to push people up to the higher tier, so you're going to push some people from the higher tier to the lower tier, right? Sometimes.
See, I don't really agree with that, actually.
You don't think that someone who would buy a $200 thing will instead buy a $50?
I don't. Not nearly as often as the other way around.
Really?
So Josh, do you think if somebody was going to spend $150 on the middle tier and they saw that the top level tier had a discount, that they just wouldn't buy anything at all?
That is a good question. I think
because without that,
in some cases, yeah. You've got to make the sale like. You can't assume that people are going to be thinking about this all week. You've got to make the sale in the moment, And if they hesitate to think about that question, you're probably going to lose the sale.
That's actually the reason why I picked only doing the top tier, because in that moment, if I get the top one, I get a discount.
Yeah, see, to me, for the second tier, it makes sense, right? If you're going to spend $150. Of course you're going to spend $200 when you're getting. It almost seems like your top tier should be priced at $300. Is it?
No, it's $250.
I think it should be $300 with $100 off. Then it's a no-brainer to me. Then I'm like, well, what the hell? Of course I'm going to spend the extra $50 and get the top tier. But with the low tier, that's where I think what you're saying I would agree with more so, Josh, is that if someone's going to spend $50 and you offer them a discount off of the top tier, so that's now $200 instead of $300 or $200 instead of $250, they're not even going to think that doesn't even matter. They're just going to walk away and not buy anything where they would have bought the $50, because now they feel like they're getting ripped off on the $50.
Mm-hmm.
That I would agree, but at the $150 price point, it just seems really hard for me to think that someone wouldn't spend the extra $50 more when they're in order to get a deeper discount. I don't know though. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just my gut on that.
So I'm going to have to look for some consensus here, and what should I do with this?
Chuck, what do you think about this whole thing?
So, for the most part, I'm wondering how. I mean, because what Josh is saying is that some people might kind of have this this moment where they're like, oh, okay, well, I could have gotten the higher tier, or I have to make a decision, and so they stop and think about it, and then they disappear. But how common is that? I mean, really? I mean, are we talking about a handful of people
that people intend to buy and don't buy?
Yeah.
Extremely common.
Very. You look at shopping cart abandonment rates, it's like 60 to 80%.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I mean,
then I'm in favor of just making it easy.
What's easy?
I don't know. What you may want to do is just have the prices listed there, and then make your people on your list feel like they're in the know because they have a coupon code that will get them the discount. And so then the people who are coming in to take advantage of the discount will be coming in feeling like I'm in the know, I'm going to get a deal, and everybody else doesn't have this, this choice to be made. It's just, oh, I want that level, and they buy it.
Right.
I mean, if it's that big a deal, then just keep it really, really, really simple.
So just make it one price. Okay, make it one price and give a discount on that one price, the highest tier package, and then if people don't buy, send them a follow-up email and offer them a smaller package. Say, yeah, maybe $200 is too much for you, but would you like to buy this for $50?
That may work, because then you can essentially do another launch for the people who weren't at the place to buy the higher cost package.
Yeah, I don't think I'm equipped to do that.
Okay.
The second tier you're essentially eliminating if you do the sale on the top tier. I think we could all probably agree on that,
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
But,
which was kind of my intent.
Right.
Well, I think you're basically wiping out the bottom 2 tiers.
For sales, yeah.
Yeah, in terms of sales.
The question is, at a $50 price, I'm not sure on the bottom tier. It only takes 4 of those to make up for one. That's why, like Josh, I guess I would agree with you with that pricing is on at least on the lowest tier. On the middle tier, I think it's fine, but on the lowest tier, I don't know how many sales you would have made on the lowest tier that you're going to sacrifice and not make any sale versus how many middle tiers you're going to push into the upper tier, because it has to be a 1-to-1 to break even. Right.
Yeah.
So is the general consensus that I should... Okay, so with the stipulation that I'm not going to change the tiers at this point because I don't have time, and I've been talking about this already, is the general consensus to give a discount code for all 3 tiers?
And make it steeper on the top one.
Yeah, I like making it steeper on the top one. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Okay.
Because then it's a major grab. It's like, oh yeah, I really got a deal.
Okay.
I better get it now, or the deal's gonna be gone.
Yeah.
And can you make it so when they hover over the top tier, that little like the kitten with the toaster, Oh, that
Nyan cat?
Yeah, that guy comes out and just flies across the screen. Then I'd buy it.
Totally.
And have it say sharp, pointy teeth.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. You need to keep the weapon though of having the the urgency of the discount.
Yeah.
To work with. I just went through this with my client, my public speaking client recently, where he decided to do he decided to launch his upper tier product. So he has a $600 product and a $1,200. Well, no, it's like $700 product and a $1,500 product. And he did a launch of the upper tier recently, and his idea was that he was going to make the discount code only good for the first 48 hours, and then he was going to give some bonuses. And he did like a week-long launch, and he was going to do a discount code for the first 48 hours, and then take the discount code away, and then give some bonuses up to the close of the launch. So he lost basically he gave away his biggest leverage, which was the expiration of the discount code, and and he didn't get the sales up front that he was hoping for. Like, he only got like 3 sales. So he should have strung that out over the whole week.
Yeah.
And kept that urgency until the very last minute.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to motivate people to jump on the sale as it's ending.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm doing with the discount code. That's what I've been doing with these bundle sales. Is the discount code is available for that first week, which is why I continuously send emails during that week.
Yeah.
Keep people motivated, give people more information, things like that. And it worked out really well with other than the consulting attempt that I made. The last time I did one of these bundle launches, I made like $3,000, and that was off of a $60 bundle.
Yeah, and that was just the bundle itself, right? There were no tiers?
Yeah, that was just screencasts.
Yeah, gosh, I still don't like tiers. I know everyone's like for just tiers, but I don't believe tiers act. I think they hurt you more than they help you overall. I think one product, one price, and a steep discount.
Well, or bonuses that make it worth it.
I'm a little bit less convinced on tiers than I am on multiple price points. Like, you've got to have multiple price points.
But those can be totally separate products. Like tiering the same product with different prices. I think that it might have worked originally, but I think so many people have seen it now that it's like nothing in marketing works once it's been successful, right? It's like
well, I mean, that's not really true, though. I mean,
it always changes, right? The whole game always changes. Like as soon as it's enough successful that people start doing it, right?
No, the gimmicks change. Like if it's a gimmick, or tactic, then but something along price points is not a gimmick.
Right, something along what you're saying there, John. I was thinking about this, and I almost went this route a couple of weeks ago when I was deciding on these things. And so I've got the ebook, right? And I built the ebook in LeanPub and had originally intended to sell all of this through LeanPub, like I did with my Backbone plugins book. But I decided it was easier and better for me to use easy digital downloads on the Watch Me Code website for various reasons. But one thing I could do, I have the ebook on LeanPub in incognito or embargo mode. So if you know the URL, you can get to it, but they are not advertising the URL anywhere on the website. You have to know the exact URL in order to get to the book. And then it's got this big, banner, embargo, please talk to the author, things like that. What I could do is, after this launch, after we get through this, and I'm getting more into the regular sales, drop the middle tier entirely and give people the opportunity on LeanPub to just buy the ebook. And then give people on the Watch Me Code site the opportunity to buy the full $250 package. In doing that, I could set up the LeanPub side of things to include a page at the very end of the book that advertises and upsells the full package. Hey, by the way, did you know that along with this ebook, I've got these screencasts and this interview and these interviews, and it's normally this much, but since you already have the ebook, you'll get this discount code. Just click this link, and you can go from there. So then it really would be two separate products. It would be the ebook and then the complete bundle advertised on different channels and different places, but then give me an upsell from the ebook over to that. Does that sound reasonable for the future? I'm not going to change that at this point.
I like that approach.
Yeah, I kind of like it too.
Because I do get a lot of sales on my Backbone plugins book through LeanPub still, especially with bundles. And if there are other similarly Node.js architectural distributed systems kinds of books on LeanPub, I could get the book into some bundles, which would widen the audience and upsell things some more.
The other possibility with that would be, I was just recommending this to someone, which is to take your ebook version from your package and use something like Smashwords or BookBaby and throw it out on all the platforms, Kindle, Kindle, all that stuff, right? And sell it for like 99 cents or $1.99. And you're not going to make money for that. And that's not the plan. Right. The plan is just to give someone, they buy this thing for 99 cents and you're really reaching this really large distribution, and they buy it and they're like, holy crap, this is a really good book. And then you're advertising. Yeah, exactly. Yep. But that might work really well for this, depending on as long as you've got enough additional content that you think that can stand alone as an upgrade.
Right.
Then that would totally, because you'll be able to reach. The nice thing about doing something like that is you'll be able to reach a large audience that you have no other way to reach.
Right. Yeah, you turn Amazon into a traffic source.
Yeah.
And in your case, I think it would work really well, because if people are searching for RabbitMQ on Amazon, I don't think they get a lot of choices, right?
Yeah, they do.
Is there really?
There's at least a dozen RabbitMQ books on Amazon.
But how many of them are good?
That means that there's people searching for RabbitMQ on Amazon.
Oh
though.
yeah, definitely means that. No,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
If yours pops up for 99¢,
Yeah.
right, or $1.99 or whatever it is, right?
Right.
And then they're like, wow.
Man, I could put it on Amazon for $14.99 and still make a killing because all the other books are $30 or $40.
Yeah, well, I mean, the idea is you got to price it low enough that you just get a ridiculous amount. That's basically free.
Right, but you also have to price it high enough that people aren't going to pass it over thinking, "What is this garbage?"
True.
Yeah, I'd actually target the $7.99 to $9.99 range because
below $10.
Below $10 because then you get the 70% commission. Otherwise, Amazon takes 70%.
Exactly.
If you go to $11, you only make like $3.50 or something. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, but I like that idea, turning it into like a lead gen thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
My battery is dying.
All right. So for now, though, I need to put a discount on the 2 lower tiers for this launch.
Yep.
I'll have to see if the Easy Digital downloads will let me duplicate the same discount code for the different products at different price at different percentage points.
By the way, DPD allows subscriptions now.
Yeah, they have for a long time. Actually, Ruby Tapas was originally using DPD subscriptions, and I've heard Avdi complain about it a number of times.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. I got an email from them saying they launch it. Maybe I misread it.
Yep.
The way they do it is really weird. I was kind of shocked when DPD launched that subscription a couple years ago, because it really truly feels like it was just tacked on. They were like, okay, we have all this feature and functionality over here. How can we tack on a subscription service to that without changing any of it? And I don't think it worked out nearly the way people wanted it to.
Yeah, I've been actually playing with, because I have Rails clips, and I'm trying to figure out, because I've got it set up now so that subscribers can access the premium content,
right.
But I'm trying to figure out the RSS piece of it. Part of me kind of likes the HTTP authentication, and part of me doesn't, so I'm trying to decide if I want to go that way or just say, look, here's your RSS feed, don't share it, and then if I feel like there are too many devices on it, then I'll change it on them or something.
Right.
Or if I even care, if it's just too much work to worry about it.
Yeah.
But.
All right, so what about Signal Leaf? What's going on?
Oh, man.
Trying to avoid the Signal Leaf.
Yeah. That was a good red herring there, Derek.
It was.
We'll talk about pricing tiers. That's the.
We need to talk about that for another hour, right?
Yeah. So, Signal Leaf has basically been paying for itself for the last 2 years. Yeah, a year and a half. I bring in like $50 a month. Last month I brought in $50 in profit. In spite of the number of users continuing to grow, the profit has remained the same because the overhead involved in the bandwidth. I've got a couple of pretty popular podcasts on there. One of them getting 45,000 downloads a month right now, and it's still very young. That's what scares me. It's only like 10 episodes in.
Here we go again.
Yeah, exactly.
Which one is this? That's getting.
Let me pull up my spreadsheet.
I don't think someone will complain about you talking about their.
Oh, it's a great podcast, and I would love to. I want them to succeed, but holy crap, this one podcast is costing me $60 a month right now.
Wow.
Well, wait a minute. The one podcast is costing you, but they're paying $99 a month, right?
No, they're paying $20 a month. No, actually, they're paying $10 a month.
Oh, you got to fix that.
I know. See, that's the whole problem.
Yeah.
You have a pricing
I've got these podcasts that in order top to bottom, $60, $30, $20, $15. I've got all these podcasts that are costing me far above and beyond what they're paying me every month because my pricing model is broken. I have not accounted for bandwidth in the pricing that Signal Leaf offers. And the goal with that was to be like a gym membership, where if everybody that had a membership at the gym showed up, it would be a fire hazard and people wouldn't be able to use any equipment and all that kind of stuff. So you kind of price things similarly in this commodities market, but it's not working out for me because I don't have enough people that are underutilizing, and I have too many people that are overutilizing. And then on top of that, so I've been making $50 a month, right? No big deal. I'll let things float along. I'll do a little bit of work here and there. Hopefully, eventually start being more attractive. But then 3 days ago, I got an email from Keen.io, automated system, basically saying, hey, you've gone over your limit for the number of events that you can send to us this month. You've hit more than 1 million events. So we're automatically bumping you up to the next year. Great, good for Keen.io. I like having that automated system in place because it means I don't have to do anything. Problem is, I was previously getting a discount from them. I was paying $70 a month. Now I'm paying $300 a month.
How
so
high?
Where do you think that $50 a month in profit is going to go?
Well, okay. There's a couple of things to put into. I mean, you've got a problem, obviously, right?
Yeah, I've got serious problems.
Well, it's not serious problems though, because here's the thing, right? Out of pocket, you might be paying like a couple $100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of services you're paying a couple hundred. I mean, losing a couple $100 a month on a business that's growing, that is not a bad thing. I'm not saying that you shouldn't fix this problem, but I mean, if you're bleeding $2,000 a month, I'd say, Derek, hold on, you got to
was previously.
Right, that's a bad problem. But if you're bleeding like a couple $100 a month and that gap isn't growing, I seriously wouldn't lose any sleep over it. I mean, we're all in the stage where a couple $100 a month is not going to cause any of us, indigestion. You know what I'm saying? It's not comfortable.
The compounding problem here is that I don't have time to fix this.
So
I've known about this pricing problem for a year.
But here's the question. Are you growing your audience right now? How many subscribers do you have for Signal Leaf?
About 50 actively paying.
Okay. And how many did you have a year ago?
About 30.
Okay, so the growth isn't very fast.
No.
One thing for sure, though, is that I mean, obviously, to me, your solution, you need to grow more, because the thing that in your equation, the thing that's going to go down, I would ignore bandwidth costs completely. I wouldn't change your pricing model based on bandwidth costs for a couple of reasons. One of the biggest one being that bandwidth costs is only going to keep going down and down.
That hasn't happened at all in the 3 years that I've been running this.
Well, Amazon has repriced twice since then.
No, they've repriced storage.
Storage.
Oh.
Not bandwidth. Yeah. They have maintained their bandwidth costs.
Yeah.
That's interesting, but it will go down, right?
Well, I wouldn't bet on that because
I expect it to go up.
Yeah, I've been kind of tracking for a few years. There have been a lot of stories. Well, there have been little whispers about how the internet is basically reaching max capacity, especially with all the video and Netflix and stuff. And they're talking about having to lay more fiber across the oceans and stuff, and that's going to basically double the cost of the internet for everybody.
Yeah.
I think reduce it though.
Well, it's twice as much infrastructure for. Well, it might not double it, but what I was reading was that it was going to increase the cost for everybody because there's more infrastructure. They basically have to build twice as much infrastructure. Yeah.
It'll increase the cost, but it's going to quintuple the speeds, and
it'll double. Well, it'll double. No, it'll just double it. If you've got one fiber cable and you lay another one, you're doubling your capacity, not. They're basically saying that they can't shove any more light down the tubes. That's what they're saying, and they pretty much have reached the capabilities of what. Yeah. I mean, we've kind of seen this with processor speeds too, where it's just kind of leveled off.
But if you increase overall bandwidth, you're going to lower the cost of bandwidth in general, right? Like it's like it'll be like
once you recoup the cost of putting it in.
But these companies that are charging for bandwidth are going to increase prices in order to pay for the infrastructure that's necessary. And I guarantee 100% with certainty that the moment they increase the price, it will never drop down below again.
Okay.
Look at taxes on phone lines. You are paying taxes on phone lines, even on cell phones, that are from the early 1900s that were supposed to be temporary tax increases to pay for some special project.
Well, okay.
My in-laws are still paying. My in-laws are still paying the Johnstown flood tax.
Yeah.
From the Johnstown flood of 1879, I think it was.
Okay,
to rebuild the city.
This is not those are not equivalent. Okay, let me just ask this one question. 5 years from now, do you think bandwidth will be cheaper or more expensive? For the same level of bandwidth, 100
more
megabytes.
Expensive.
You think it'll be more expensive?
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, because it's a scarce. It's a scarce resource.
I don't think so. Technology is increasing. Okay.
Yes, as technology continues to increase, we are using more and more of this bandwidth, and the bandwidth is not unlimited.
Okay, consider the price of a T1 line over time, right? Okay, remember when we had dial-up modems?
Mm-hmm.
You know how much a T1 line costs?
A couple $1,000s a month.
Right. You know how much a T1 line costs now?
I've got 5 T1 lines running into my bedroom under the guise of a cable modem.
Okay, so what I'm saying is there's no way, like, bandwidth will decrease over time. Like, there's no way. This is it's
consumer level.
That's because technology has changed. So
exactly.
Right.
If the technology gets better and it becomes that much easier to install and provide, then it'll go down. But I mean, we've been running on the same old technology for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, that's not entirely true, right? Because we went from 2G, like at least in the cell phone market, 2G to 3G. Now we're on 4G networks. 5G networks are coming out just now, and the 5G networks will do more than just power your cell phone. They'll actually provide home internet service. So, and they'll be 100 times faster. Well, quote 100 times faster, which is
that's fair. We're still a few years down the line from that.
But what I'm saying is, like, don't bet against bandwidth, and even if so, I don't know. I think it's silly to optimize for something that is likely to go down in time, and isn't going to represent a huge.
But 5 to 10 years from now is $300 a month that I'm losing for 5 to 10 years.
Well, I'm not assuming that you're going to lose that money.
But this doesn't address the core issue of I have known about this problem for a year and I haven't had time to fix it. I haven't even had time to think about the right solution for this.
Yeah.
So my thing is I think there are more immediate concerns than just this. I mean, let's say I've mentioned this, I think, on this show, but I'm looking at putting together a bunch of information about podcasting.
Right.
And so if I start promoting it and my stuff takes off and I promote Signal Leaf, and it doubles in subscribership, are you going to have twice the problem?
That's the question. That's the thing. That's the key question.
If you grow, are you going to have a bigger problem or a smaller problem?
Right.
Every new subscriber brings the potential of bankrupting me.
No. That's not exactly.
Because every subscriber has the potential to become the next really big podcast that charges me upwards of $1,000 a month in bandwidth.
Right.
Okay, fair enough. But the majority of them aren't going to be that. Okay.
But you don't know which one will be.
That's true.
I had zero clue. I had zero expectation.
You need to have a questionnaire.
Don Felker's fragmented podcast being this popular. I mean, he's got a great podcast, and then the Rob Irving's CPP podcast. I mean, these are phenomenal developer podcasts, and I expected them to have an audience of a couple of hundred, couple of thousand developers out there. Don Felker's doing 45,000 downloads a month right now, and costing me $70 a month.
So he's got 8,000 or 9,000 subscribers, give or take.
Yeah, he's got a huge following, and it's growing.
So here's the thing, though, is that if you look at competitors like Libsyn or Blueberry or whatever, I mean, they have these shows too, right?
Right, and I can tell you how they handle it. When they get above a certain size, a certain amount of bandwidth, they contact you and say, hey, look, you either need to start paying for the bandwidth or join our sponsorship program. And I know this because I asked them.
Yeah, but that's kind of a bullshit way to run. Because
I agree.
if you
I agree it is. I don't want to do that.
And some days they're going to get slapped with a lawsuit when someone's like they hit the
No,
wrong
it's in the
person
terms of
like
service.
that.
If you actually read the complete terms of service, it's in there.
Yeah, but they're advertising it as unlimited bandwidth.
Right, for people that are considered amateur podcasters. It is unlimited bandwidth.
It's a very shaky line to be on.
And I don't want to approach that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I talked to both Blueberry and Libsyn about this in depth when I was helping that podcast last year move away from Signal Leaf, and so I figured out I talked to representatives, the people that are in charge basically, about what was going on and asked them, hey, how are you going to handle this situation? And so they laid it out. Hey, look, yeah, we have this unlimited plan, but it's unlimited within these circumstances. And anything beyond these circumstances, this is the path we go down.
Yeah, so honestly, I mean, I'm kind of leaning toward raising your prices. And I know you're going to lose some folks.
I don't have the feature set to justify that because I don't have the time to build it.
Yeah, but are people going to be, I mean, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot because you are the podcast hosting service that makes your podcast easy to be successful because you help them, right? So to some degree, you can charge a premium because you are that, right? So you can't be the discount and the help you succeed because that's like the gym membership that calls you up to get your butt to the gym.
That's the gym membership that gives you free personal trainer for life.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's going to make sure that you show up. So I don't know. Like, I agree. Maybe just raising the prices would make sense.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing
I think part of the problem is I'm not sure if this is the case, but it seems like what's happening, Derek, is that you're still so small, and that most of the people that you get are people that you probably know personally, or you know, are actually coming in from your audience.
Right.
So they have a higher likelihood of succeeding than your average Joe. So I think you're actually, like, if you were able to, to mass market this, I'm not saying you should even try this, but if you were able to mass market it more and get a broader cross section of people, that you'd start to get that averaging out where you could actually make the gym membership model work.
Right.
But right now you're attracting all the high achievers. You know, if you offer everyone a personal trainer that comes to your gym and they all say yes, you know, that's you're overloaded. And that's kind of what's happening here. I think you're getting a lot of high achievers who actually are making it work.
I want
for them.
I want to change the topic a little bit just because I'm wondering now. I really like Signal Leaf. I like what you're doing with it. I think it's good for podcasters. I honestly think this is a service that ought to be around. But all that said, I mean, why keep it?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, that's.
I think that's the question, Derek was.
I mean, so.
But that's ultimately why we're having this conversation.
Right.
Because I'm not sure I want to keep it.
How much effort do you put on it now? To keep it going every month.
To keep it running, it's probably 5 to 10 hours a month.
That's a lot. To be losing money on something?
Yeah. What are you doing in those 5 to 10 hours?
Everything from answering emails to diagnosing and fixing problems. Like a couple of weeks ago, I spent an entire week fixing a string of problems that I was having because, well, honestly, I don't even know why the problems started occurring. Things were running along smoothly, and suddenly errors left and right, and so I had to go. I had to fix a lot of stuff that should not have been broken. It's one of those magic mysteries of technology that, you know, suddenly things that were running are not running anymore. And so I went and in order to improve the performance on a few key pieces, I had to upgrade a whole bunch of library versions, which was nightmarishly difficult, and there's still some work that I need to do in order to optimize the way things are running. I wrote a blog post about this a couple of weeks ago, about how I want to split the processing of analytics data. And if I'm in there making changes to the analytics data, then I need to change how often I'm logging analytics out to Keen.io so that I can reduce my monthly cost again. But there's an inherent problem in doing that. If I'm caching, say, once a day, I'll send you your iPod, whatever, as an event over to Keen.io for the RSS check. Then I am inherently destroying the credibility of the statistics that I'm generating, because I'm not sending every single event to the statistics analysis service anymore. I'm only sending one a day so that I can reduce the number of events and cut down my monthly cost.
Well, if you're sending one a day, then you don't even need Keen.io, because you could just have your own database and just...
No, it's not the data storage that's the problem. It's the actual data processing, which is why I'm using Keen.io. Yeah, I can store data. I can store billions of records a day for no significant cost with MongoLab. They're dirt cheap. It's the processing of the data, the queries, and being able to formulate all these queries and get the GeoIP information and get the browser user agent information and all these additional layers on top that Keen.io adds. They provide far more than $300 a month in value to me, but I can't afford it right now because I'm not making enough money due to bandwidth costs. So, if my bandwidth costs were fixed, if I didn't have bandwidth costs, like say it cost me $10 a month per subscriber for bandwidth, I would more than happily pay $300 a month for Keen.io because they provide that much value.
Well, that's the whole point of using a service like SignalLeaf, is that you put it out there and then you know what it's going to cost you for the month for your bandwidth. And in a lot of cases, you're being subsidized by the other guy that only has 100 subscribers.
Right. Which is what my intention was, but it's not working out yet. And due to the high volume of subscribers for some of these podcasts, our Entreprogrammers podcast as well, it's charging me $20 a month. John, you're costing me $15 a month, I think, total between both of your podcasts.
I'll work on that.
My own podcast, my bit rates and MP3 encoding blog post is still one of the most popular blog posts for bitrate samples on the internet right now, and it charges. I get $5 a month in bandwidth cost for that. And here's the stupid part. This is the absolute worst thing that I'm going to fix. That podcast that I kicked off my network last year, they still have some of their episodes on my service, and I didn't realize it until this week. They're costing me $20 a month. So I'm gonna shut off their account entirely, because I've got it set up so that they had a redirect in order to move their subscribers over to their new service. That's been running for a year. I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to end up getting some nasty, horrible email from them complaining about how their podcast is now broken. But whatever. You're costing me $20 a month. I'm kicking you off.
So I'm going to go back to my question. Because we've talked about a lot of the problems that you have with SignalLeaf, but why stick with it, and why drop it?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you get? I mean,
so the things that I get out of it personally are fodder for blog posts, conference talks, and watch me code. Ideas for my client work as well. I've used a lot of the work that I did on SignalLeaf to produce some significant value for my client. It's stuff that I had to refine and rework and do over, but it was the groundwork for the things that I've done for my client. A lot of Watch Me Code episodes are based directly on the work that I did for SignalLeaf, including the Express.js stuff, the MongoDB stuff, and some of the RabbitMQ stuff. my blog posts are directly generated from the work that I'm doing with Signal Leaf and my client. So there's a lot of value from content and cross-pollination of code and ideas. There's the additional value of learning the business lessons, the marketing lessons, things like that. I don't expect that Signal Leaf will be around forever. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I'm not going to try and predict that. But the reason I've stuck with it for as long as I have is because I know if I quit this and start something else, I'm going to have to learn these lessons with something else. I'm going to, in some ways, be starting over and have to travel through the same ground again, hoping that I get it right on the next project. In some ways, that's good. In some ways, that's bad. There's potential for it to be worse. There's potential for it to be better if I start over with another product or service. So there's a lot of reason to keep it, but there's a lot of reason to drop it as well. One being the pricing model is broken. The infrastructure and what's the right word? Overhead costs are continuously increasing, I am not generating profit per customer. I am only generating profit in aggregate when the overhead costs are remaining low. Mm-hmm. There's the time and effort involved in maintaining it. I spent an entire week fixing problems that shouldn't have been problems, and it was a cascade of failures based on an error that I made, a feature that I accidentally disabled that somebody needed. I had to fix that, and by doing that, I caused a cascade of failures by doing another deploy.
Right. But the actual cost then of this is a lot higher than $50 a month or $100 a month. It's the value of your time. So I mean, it's more like we're talking thousands of dollars a month.
Oh yeah. I'm only talking about the actual material cost.
Yeah.
If you factor the amount of time that I spend into this, assume that I only make $100 an hour on for whatever reason, then we're talking $1,000 a month on top of the actual cost, which means I'm losing closer to $1,200 a month.
But some of that is offset by the value you gain from more the screencast.
Right.
So.
Yeah, some of that is offset.
Yeah.
So the question is then, because it sounds like your trade-off for what you get out of it versus what it costs you is not enough to make it a clear decision to give it up or to keep it.
Right.
So I don't see you making things worse deliberately to make it so that it's worth giving up, right?
Right.
So what would make it a slam dunk to keep? Okay. At what point would it be okay? I'm definitely going to keep Signal Leaf.
Being profitable, having it pay for itself.
Now, what does it mean?
I was paying for the material costs of the services that are used to host it.
Okay, so we're not accounting for your time at all?
Not even accounting for my time.
Okay, so it's got to break even?
Yeah.
So it's got to make another $200 a month.
Right.
$250. So how do you solve that? Do you raise your prices?
I don't know.
Do you kick a couple of podcasts off? Are you willing to because if you look at that, so what are your options? How much work is that going to be, and is it going to be worth it? Because if you're not willing to commit to making it absolutely worth keeping, then you probably ought to get rid of it, in my opinion.
Yeah. And that's the knife edge that I've been teetering on for a long time. I've kept it for as long as I have because it has been break even.
Right.
$50 a month. Okay, that pays for a glass of scotch on date night once a month.
One glass? Goodness, what?
I buy seriously. I buy expensive scotch.
Boy, do you need it after working on Signal Leaf.
I can save you right now. Just go to the liquor store, buy a bottle in a flask. You'll save yourself a whole bunch of money.
A whole bunch of money right there.
Yeah, and then just order coffees.
Yeah. But I really want to push on this because, honestly, if you're not willing to put the work in to make it an absolute, I'm going to keep this because I'm excited about it, then
I don't feel like I can right now is the problem because
not just are you willing to put the work in, we're all willing to work hard on stuff. But what are you willing to give up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what am I willing to give up
to make
this?
this work?
Well, some of the pricing should be easy too, right? Like start charging me.
Yeah, I can charge you $20 a month.
Okay, that'll help. Or well, yeah, I guess that's
Charge
like,
Entreprogrammers.
Yeah, which I haven't been doing at all. Entreprogrammers is costing me about $20 a month right now.
yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't get you there. So what else?
That gives me $40 out of the
Right.
250. I'm gonna kick that podcast from last year. I'm gonna shut down their account, which gives me another 20. So that'll be $60 a month.
Yeah.
I should probably drop the starter plan entirely, which is $10 a month. I should probably pare everything down to just the one plan at $20 a month, and probably raise the price on that one when I'm doing it to like $25 a month or something.
How many subscribers are you getting now, like per month on average?
New subscribers, 3 on average, I think.
Okay. Without really any advertising, right? It's just kind of organic.
It's mostly word of mouth, a few sponsorships that I do.
What are you spending on marketing?
Almost nothing
right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Except I do have a few podcasts that are getting free service in return for sponsorship spots.
Can you end those and like for example, like the one for Get Up and Code and charge me? Can you end those for other people and charge them too?
Yeah, that might bring me in another $40 a month.
Because I don't think advertising
or
on
lose
a podcast
lose a
podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, which if they're not if they're making you money right now, that could be a net negative.
If they're making you money?
If they're smaller, yeah. If they're not the top ones, then he's actually making money.
Mm-hmm.
Like
or if
the bottom 45. What I'm hearing is the bottom 40 or 45% or the bottom 40 customers are making you money, and the top 10 are losing you money. Is that true?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So if you lose more of the bottom, if you lose the bottom ones, then that makes the top ones their impact that much greater. Yeah. So cutting the lower plans might do the same thing.
Okay, I've got an idea for pricing. Okay, so what if
three tiers? We need 3 tiers now.
And only discount the bottom one.
What if you made a special kind of concierge kind of price that was something? I mean, what's your highest one? Is it $99 a month?
Yeah, but that's a price anchor. It's not actually worth buying.
Is anyone paying $99 a month for it?
No, and that's why it's not worth buying. I've had a few people interested in it, but never to the point where it was actually worth paying for. And so here's before you go down the path of suggesting the concierge stuff. The largest single problem that I have is not the pricing model or losing $200 a month. I can deal with losing $200 a month if I have the time to deal with it.
I see.
What do I drop in order to make Signal Leaf work?
I see. Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about pricing structure and models and things to fix on Signal Leaf until I solve that problem.
I was just thinking of a simple, but yeah, if there's something.
No, because that adds more time. That requires far more time than writing code does.
Well, when I say concierge, I don't actually mean I mean, what I was thinking was something like a pricing tier that you can't have access to unless you have so many downloads per month. Like almost like now you're eligible for the elite, platinum, super duper, and it's $99 a month.
But if I'm going down that path,
yeah,
then I do have to charge people for bandwidth, because if you're using enough bandwidth to get into that kind of one-on-one service tier, then you're going to end up costing me far more than $99 a month.
How does the pricing? I think this all comes back down to like this fundamental thing about how do podcasts make money, because every business model that's successful.
I'm writing a book on that.
There we go. But every business model that's successful has to, at least a B2B, which is essentially right.
No, this is not.
Well, a podcast is a
argue.
business.
Yeah, I would argue that it is.
It
I think
might,
it mostly is.
maybe you think it should be, but I'll tell you how many of my customers are businesses. One.
Well, no, but
no,
yeah.
a podcast itself is an enterprise. It's a venture. It's a thing that you make money for. Okay, so let's not say B2B. Let's just say that successful business models the most successful business models figure out how their customer makes money, and they either help their customer make more money, save money, or do things faster.
Right. The way
Which
podcasts
make
money is
money.
through sponsorships.
Mostly. Some through selling their products through the audience that
but that's effectively self-sponsorship.
Yeah.
The only other model I've seen that I wouldn't call a sponsorship is premium content that you pay for.
Yeah, so like the 5x, or is it the 5x5 network?
Ruby Tapas, or if you consider that a podcast.
I mean, if you call Watch Me Code podcast instead of screencast, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so but your customers, Derek, would be the ones that are making money through sponsorship.
Right.
Now, what's your most successful podcast right now?
The Fragmented podcast. It's an Android development podcast.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Don's one, right?
Don Felker, yeah.
So, is he making money from the podcast?
I have no idea. I listened to a few of his episodes recently to see if they had sponsors, and I didn't hear any.
Okay. So one thing might be but then this takes time. But just like playing this out, if you're going to charge someone money, that's going to pay for the bandwidth, then it has to graduate. Either you have to charge them by the bandwidth or graduate with the money they make from the bandwidth they're using. So you would have to potentially help him get sponsors, and then you end up in that. But
let's go back to the fundamental problem here of what do I stop doing so that I can help him?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out the business model in general, right?
No, I don't even want to talk about that yet.
Well, but if you don't have
until I have time to do any of this work, it doesn't matter.
But if you don't have a successful business model, it won't matter if you have time or not, right? So, if you don't have the fundamental way that you're going to make money off of these, if there's no solution you can find, then it doesn't matter how much time you have. That's what I'm saying is you have to somehow figure out how to get these podcasters to be able to make money, to be able to pay you, or to pay you a percentage of the money they're making from sponsorships.
Well, I mean, I think I guess I kind of agree more with what Derek's saying here, because there's any number of ways that he could grow Signal Leaf. Just blogging more.
Yeah.
Would probably bring in a lot more of the customers that are going to not cost him money. That like we were talking about.
Yep.
So I mean, there's any number of ways that he could make it work, but it's just a trade-off of what do you give up?
Right, because
that's kind of what I was dealing with Sublime. Is I know exactly how I could make this work. I'm sure that I could get this to $2,000 or $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month by doing XYZ, like making more more low-price products and a higher-price product. And just having something that I launch every month, I know I could do that, but I have to cut all this other stuff.
Yeah, and
I can't,
And the other compounding problem there is Watch Me Code.
Right.
Because I am making I brought in 2,800 last month from Watch Me Code, which is reasonable.
Recurring.
Yeah, that's recurring.
Yeah, that was without a product.
Right, that was without a product launch, sales, whatever. This month, with the RabbitMQ launch, I fully expect to bring in 5,000 or more with Watch Me Code with this product launch this month. It's a whole lot easier for me to spend time on Watch Me Code. I spent $6,000 on marketing stuff with Momoko and that logo design and everything in the last couple of months on Watch Me Code. That was easy for me to drop because I know I'm going to make that back. $200 scares the crap out of me with Signal Leaf because I don't know if I'm going to make that back.
But do you have to make that back? I mean,
if I can't spend the time to turn Signal Leaf into something that is profitable eventually, then yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're growing, like you can always grow. See, you don't have enough organic growth, I guess, at this point. Because like if Signal Leaf was just growing, I'd have more of the startup mentality and say just keep growing. Who cares if you're losing a couple $100 a month? And
but
then
I don't have
a couple
that
years down the
growth,
road,
though.
you can turn to Signal Leaf and make it, now take the lines and make them profitable. But yeah, you're not getting that growth. But
that's why hire a growth hacker. That will fix your problems.
I've got this growth. Can you hack it off for me?
Well, that's why I'm going after the fundamental business model. Because if you don't have a fundamental business model that's going to work, then maybe you should just kill it. Because the only way I could see to take what you have now and make it work is to find someone that is going to work on a commission basis, that is basically going to contact your top customers when they reach a certain point, and then hook them up with sponsorships, negotiate a deal, and get Signal Leaf to get a percentage of that, as well as them to take a commission off of the top.
To create a sponsorship network like Blueberry and Libsyn do.
Yeah, or maybe you can tap into someone who already has a sponsorship network. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Okay, so there's a couple of sponsorship networks out there, including your competitors, right? But and who, I can't remember who contacted Chuck. I mean, you're kind of so you're kind of small potatoes right now, but maybe you could set up an agreement with them and say, look, I've got customers, like I'm growing this, I'm in the startup phase, like the business is still small, but I'm growing, but eventually I hit these customers, they hit this click point where they actually are valuable to sponsors. I can send them directly to you, and you can hook them up with a sponsorship, and I get this percentage cut, and you get this, and work it out, and then you're helping everyone, because these podcasts are one thing you'd be able to advertise is you'd be able to say with Signal Leaf, when you get big, you don't have to worry about making money. We just help you make money automatically, and you've got an agreement set up, and then you're gonna gain money for their growth.
Yeah, although usually the way those ad networks work is that you're making pennies on the dollar compared to, like, for me, with my Sublime newsletter, I've looked into the ad networks, and like I could make like $150 a month, or like $150. Well, no, sorry. I knew somebody who had a list of about 5,000 or 10,000, and he was making about $150 a month. So, I could maybe make $1,000 a month with my list, or I could charge $500 a pop for one ad.
Right. Or but the reason why that appeals is because if you don't have the time or the inclination to deal with, I mean, in most cases, in your situation, it's probably better to take the $1,000 a month guaranteed, where you don't have to do any hassle, right? Like, it depends on where you're investing your time, but regardless, I think there's an opportunity there. I mean, that's a viable business model, because then what it does is it allows you to take your customers that you can't make profit off of, and automatically send them over to somewhere where they're going to get sponsorships, where they're going to get value, where you're going to get paid commensurate with their increase in traffic, so that it'll cover your bandwidth and then some more. That to me could work. Otherwise, you got to figure out. Otherwise, you got to either charge these people more money at a flat fee that's high enough to in aggregate pay for everything, or you got to charge them, bandwidth plus 10% or something like that.
So some of the other ideas that I've had have been along those lines, because frankly, the involvement and everything else that you just suggested is way too much. So some of the other ideas I've had is, I built all of this on the backbone of Amazon S3.
Yeah.
Well, I use a service called s3stats.com in order to give me actual bandwidth usage stats on individual files and stuff. It's a pretty good S3 analytics reporting service. It doesn't give me an API, but I can go download an Excel spreadsheet and hack things in Excel. The way they work is when you sign up for them, you grant permission to a specific account. You tell their service what account to use, and you grant permission for that account to run the analytics on your S3 account. I could do the same thing with Signal Leaf. I could have Signal Leaf be the the way to make S3 hosting ridiculously simple. So you get the benefit of analytics and RSS and all these other things that you actually care about, but then you host your files on S3 yourself. I could even have SignalLeaf upload the file to your S3 bucket, because it's doing that to my S3 bucket right now.
Huh.
So that could be a way to offload the bandwidth cost onto the podcaster, and then let them deal with the bandwidth cost, and then I would charge $10 a month for all of the reports and everything that you want.
That's interesting.
So there's options like that.
Yeah.
I think there are ways to make SignalLeaf viable. I think the Dropbox integration was the killer feature that I never had time to complete. It mostly works, but there's some things I need to change in order for it to be more flexible, because of the way that I'm assuming folder structures right now, and it doesn't work for some people. So
yeah, overall, I think what you need to do is just sit down and figure out a couple of ways that you think would work to get it to be viable. And then if you feel like you can commit to any of them, then do it. And if you don't, then start looking at options to sell it or shut it down. I mean, unless you have a course of action you can commit to, I just don't see that you're doing anything other than fooling yourself about whether or not you're ever going to get around to making it work.
I'm leaning more toward that every day.
Yeah,
because I've been meaning to finish this Dropbox integration for months.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many months ago did we enable it for John and get up in code? And I haven't finished it yet.
Okay, here's something. I hate to see you fretting over a very small amount of money like that. I mean, obviously, there's a couple of quick things.
No. The $200 is not the problem.
I understand.
The $200 is the fraction of a straw in the hurricane that slammed through my brain. I'm stuck in this hurricane, and that's the flying piece of debris that hit me.
Oh, I get that. But what I'm saying is let's get that out of the way. So there's some quick fixes you can do. Obviously, charge me, for my podcast. Charge Entreprogrammers. That'll help a little, and cut off those other episodes, right? That'll give you.
So I can reduce the cost by $60 to $100 a month.
But then put and then the other quick thing you could do is send out emails to your top expensive guys and say, hey, would you're doing really well, you're costing me more than it, whatever, put together some email and just say, would you consider upgrading to the higher tier plan to help support SignalLeaf as well as whatever, and you could see some of them will convert just because they're doing well themselves. If you have a really popular podcast, I mean, what do you care if you're paying $100 a month or whatever? Or 20.
Well, if you don't have sponsors, that's when you care.
Yeah, but you're making money from. I mean, trust me.
No, the Fragmented is not making any money off of it right now. Maybe Don is getting potential clients.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's definitely making money off of the podcast. I mean, having the success, I'm sure of it. But regardless, I mean, those are quick things. But the main thing I'm getting to is set a point here, right? Say, okay, if you hit this threshold, maybe it's $500 a month negative on SignalLeaf. If you hit that, then that's the trigger point where you say, okay, I'm either working on SignalLeaf right now to fix this problem, or I'm killing it. But until then, I'm not worrying about it, because this way it's not on your head, right? And maybe the trigger point is $300 a month negative. Maybe it's lower. I don't know, whatever your threshold. But set some kind of threshold, and don't even worry about this problem until you hit that threshold.
Well, but there's still the. I mean, maybe you could, and if you could time box your involvement to 2 or 3 hours a month or something.
Yeah.
And not put any more time into it other than that. Because to me, if I was in your shoes, I wouldn't care about the money. What would be on my mind is the time and the complexity this adds to my life.
That's what I was trying to say a moment ago with the hurricane. I'm not worried about the money. The money is a minuscule problem compared to the enormity of the storm that I'm in.
You're running 3 businesses. You've got your consulting,
exactly.
You've got Signal-Leaf, and you've got Watch Me Code. And that is
when and where do I have the time to deal with Signal-Leaf? And I don't. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you just killed Signal-Leaf. What would happen?
I would spend more time on Watch Me Code. All of that time and effort that I had put into Signal-Leaf would be pushed over to Watch Me Code, improving the quality of screencasts, paying for a new site design, getting some of the things done on Signal-Leaf or Watch Me Code that I need to do, including using some of the code and lessons learned from Signal-Leaf to improve Watch Me Code. Because there's a feature that I've been meaning to build for Watch Me Code for 2 years now that I tried to build a month ago and realized, oh, you know what? I need Signal-Leaf's media server for Watch Me Code, and then I can build this feature. I mean, there's so many great things I can do with Watch Me Code to make it so much better, including writing a whole lot of code, which would fuel a lot of Watch Me Code's episodes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You could use Watch Me Code to replace Signal-Leaf as your...
I mean, essentially what I need to do is destroy Signal-Leaf as a podcast hosting service and recreate Signal-Leaf as a subscription-based subscription service. I mean, Watch Me Code is a very successful screencast subscription service at this point, but it has some fundamental problems that I can fix by writing a whole lot more code, which would essentially give me a service to do subscription services.
Can you white label?
That is a heck of a lot more of a compelling tool. And you're not in a commodity business either.
Right.
Can you white label Libsyn or Blueberry? Do they offer any kind of white label services?
Libsyn offers a professional service, which is god-awful expensive for people like Adam Carolla that are doing millions of downloads a month.
So what I mean by white label is, I mean, you take their service, you put your name on it, right? Do you know if they might offer it? A lot of companies. Really? No podcast hosting service offers a white label where you can be the, like Bluehost, for example, you can have your own hosting, and you're just essentially using Bluehost, but it's your own name on top of it.
Yeah.
Darn. Well,
no. Blueberry's whole marketing is WordPress. They do a phenomenal job of marketing themselves as the podcast solution for WordPress. Libsyn is just, they are the podcast host.
Do either of them offer affiliate programs?
Yes.
Okay. So you could essentially shut down Signal-Leaf and then refer people over to Libsyn or Blueberry through their affiliate programs.
But the affiliate program gives you credit for their service. It
Really?
Yeah. Play money.
Exactly.
Well, you could balance it so 50% of your people are on Libsyn and you're using the credits from the... Never.
No, Libsyn would give me free hosting if I sent people to Libsyn.
I hate affiliate programs like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just trying to think of a way you could shut down Signal-Leaf and still make money off of the time and assets you've invested into it. Maybe someone wanted to buy a podcast hosting service that doesn't make any money.
I don't even want to bother trying. I really don't. That in itself would be far more work than actually fixing Signal-Leaf.
Yeah.
I don't have any accounting. I don't have any. I mean, there is a ton of stuff, ton of work, legalities and all involved in that.
I don't know. I guess it sounds like you should kill it to me now.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm leaning toward.
As the Entreprogrammers podcast goes off the air.
We would just have to cut off the service, right?
Yeah, we cut
kill
off the
it right now. Flip the switch, Derek.
I mean, I can essentially kill Signal-Leaf without destroying anything that we're doing, because I mean, it doesn't cost me that much to run this podcast. So we could siphon money from our sponsorships into my pocket to pay for bandwidth and keep Signal-Leaf around for the things that we're doing. for Entreprogrammers, but then just disable the public site, don't let people sign up, give this big, nice note about how it's no longer around, all that kind of stuff.
Wait a minute, though. If you're going to do that, just jack the prices way up and then just leave it up.
Yeah. That would effectively kill it, which would be a nice way to kill it.
I mean, either we should move over to Libsyn, and I should move my podcasts over, or you should jack the prices way up. Because if you're going to run Signal Leaf and run it in private mode, then you might as well just run it in public mode and just do nothing but make one simple change, 10-minute change, and jack the prices up.
Yeah.
How much would you jack them? Triple the prices. And send an email to your existing subscribers and say you're tripling the prices. Say, this sucks, but Netflix did it, so you're doing it.
Wait, Netflix did it?
Yeah, Netflix, they sent out this email to all their subscribers. They're like, we're raising our prices, suckers. And that's...
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And then
$7.99 to $9.99.
Yeah, and everyone started shorting their stock like crazy, and now they tripled their stock price. So just send an email and just say, hey, look, my choice is either shut it down or to triple the prices. So I'm tripling the prices. If you want to leave, I can help you leave, but not really, because that would cost money. But you can pay.
No, I have the tools built into Signal and leave already.
And just say, and just explain why the Signal Leaf is becoming a premium podcast hosting service now. That means that you're getting the value that from my help from being part of Signal Leaf, not just a number in a podcast hosting service that doesn't even care about you. I don't know. It's worth
the truth is, I would rather shut it down.
Then send that email?
Yeah. Not because I don't want to send the email, but because I don't know if I want to deal with Signal Leaf anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really.
I don't know if it's. I don't think it's worth my time and effort and involvement anymore. I think it was a good run. It was fun while it lasted, but this is one of those moments where you pivot and work your ass off, or you say goodbye.
Well, then you should probably not even host Entreprogrammers, we should just move.
Probably not. I probably should.
Because you should run all that hardware, and then we'll be in the problem of calling you up and saying, "Hey, Derek, Entreprogrammers is down."
Yeah.
And there's like, well, but I haven't worked on that dusty old crap for a long time because no one's paying me for it. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It becomes the box under your desk.
Yeah.
With the big cable running on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, Derek. If I was in your shoes, I would be pulling the plug.
I would honestly, though, if I were in your shoes, I would
I just pulled the plug on a client today. So I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
I would.
It's seriously tempting.
I would try jacking up the prices. I don't know, just to see.
I don't even want to deal with it.
You don't think it's
it fixes the money.
Mood, but
it fixes the money problem, maybe, but it doesn't fix the psychic load.
Yeah, or the time, or the fact that I'm running 3 fucking businesses right now.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, all right, yeah. I guess that makes sense. Shut it down. Should flip the switch.
Yep. Give everybody a month or something to move off, and then.
Yep. The death of Signal Leaf.
But I mean, it makes sense. It's a decision that makes sense, and as long as you're going to be happy with it down the road,
right?
Or happier with it anyway, with the decision.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just how it goes, right? I mean, you try 3 things and one works, and it's just how it goes. And really, like your idea of turning the code into basically a resellable asset is really intriguing. I think.
No, I need this for Watch Me Code. I need Signal Leaf's. I need Signal Leaf's media server and analytics on Watch Me Code, and Watch Me Code will pay for it.
Yeah.
Because Watch Me, there's features in Watch Me Code that I need that I cannot do with my current setup, and I can build this in a way that I can integrate it directly into WordPress without changing any of the current front-end infrastructure on the site. I just build a new backend service from which media files are delivered. And I can do so many amazing things with Watch Me Code, including an RSS feed that you can subscribe in iTunes that requires authentication so that only subscribers can get videos, but they get the videos right in iTunes, which is like the #1 requested feature on Watch Me Code. And that in itself is a sellable product.
I have to point out the irony of this. I think it was probably about a year ago that you were wanting to shut down Watch Me Code and focus on Signal Leaf.
Yep.
And we had the same conversation about shutting down Watch Me Code, and we were like trying to convince you to not shut down Watch Me Code and to go to a subscription model instead.
Yeah, it was just over a year ago, April of 2014.
Yeah. So that's funny how it's changed, and now Signal Leaf is the one on the X. It's like the BlackBerry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I really think that splitting your focus is just death.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what's the most painful thing about having Signal Leaf.
Right.
Yeah, and you gave it a shot. I mean, you tried to grow it. I mean, we were having these conversations like 6 months, a year ago about trying to grow Signal Leaf, and it's just not growing. And it's like in order to compete, you'll have to. Yeah, it's just too hard to compete in this market, I think.
Well, you're playing a numbers game, and I think you'd have to dump a bunch of money into marketing to see it come out, and I don't think it will come out for another year or two. And
okay, I've got one other solution. Okay, you can take podcast episodes, transcode them into text, upload them to GitHub, and then host it through GitHub.
And then re-encode them on the fly.
Exactly. Just like people are posting their blogs on GitHub, you can post, then you'll get free bandwidth.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a commodity market. If you're going to compete in a commodity market, there's only really room for 2 or 3 players at most.
Now, I still, honestly, flat out truth, I believe something like Signal Leaf is viable in the podcasting market.
Well, I agree, but I was going to say, the business model though, your business model.
My business model is broken.
Is a commodity business model. Yeah. That's not doable.
Right.
If you could find a way to make it a boutique service, you could totally survive and thrive with that. But if you're going to compete with the commodities on the commodity
Chuck
side,
has a better possibility of making this work than I do.
Yeah.
Chuck, possibly.
Chuck, you're the new owner of Signal Leaf.
Chuck, do you want to buy Signal Leaf? We got this great oceanfront property in Nevada.
Okay, so to be honest, it has crossed my mind. Just because the functionality's there mostly, and it does what I think it should be doing. The issue is that I don't have time to take it on. Yeah, and so if I took it on, I would pay somebody else to run it.
6 businesses.
Right? So, it's just I mean, the idea is great, but the timing is poor for me right now. So if that makes any sense.
No, it totally does.
But
Chuck,
honestly,
you're getting your credit cards paid off, right? So you could, you could finance it on your credit card. Just kidding.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. But I mean, seriously, there are a lot of things I like about Signal Leaf, and I honestly think that, with some tweaks to the pricing and a few other things, I think it's something that could work. But, I mean, if I go out and build something like it down the road, that that might be a possibility, because I do want to build services for podcasters. But
right, I think you would have a far stronger chance of being successful in that arena than I do. Not because I can't do the work, but because that is not my passion and my business. It is your passion and your business.
And I have a lot of credibility in the space, so I could turn around and say, look, this is what I'm doing.
Right. I can build the software like no one else, but that's not what I do.
Yep. So.
You should maybe a partnership then. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm trying to cut things out, though. I'm not trying to take more things on.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do.
So.
All right, Signal Leaf. Goodbye, Signal Leaf.
But it's hard to say no though, because it is something that I really care about as far as podcasting, and I think this is something that people could use. But yeah, I mean,
you don't want this code base.
I know it's written in Node.js.
You just run the. You could probably find a transpiler written in JavaScript to transpile it to Ruby, right?
Nice.
Yeah, the language isn't the problem. The problem is that this is a 3-year-old code base,
Yeah.
and it's grown in nasty, awful ways, which is, it's a source of material for Watch Me Code. It really is, but that's not always a good thing.
You want to take my 3-year-old experimental code base?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, next episode, someone else has to kill something.
I could kill a small animal. Does that work?
No, you're from the chopping. You're safe from the chopping block. You killed something, so we all got to kill things.
Oh, I do need to figure out some of the stuff I have to kill.
I killed a deal today.
What'd you kill?
So I was working on I don't want to name the name, but I was working with a software company to try to get up and running with them and do an AdWords like an audit of their AdWords account, and also help them out with content marketing. And I just decided I'm pulling the plug. So they hadn't actually given me any money. They wanted to work with me. They were eager to work with me, but I just decided that I have too much complexity going on. So it was like for me the decision came down to like, I'm not having any trouble at all getting business if I specialize in landing pages, like sales pages and landing pages and email. And so that's what I really want to do. And this other thing, like I like doing AdWords, but I'm not going to specialize in AdWords.
Yeah.
And I don't particularly like content marketing. So so I just I decided like I could probably with that company I probably could make $30,000 to $50,000 over the next year or two, but I am giving up. I would be having to give up other stuff that I want to do more. So pulled the plug on it. What I figured out is I'm gonna try to help them find somebody to do the AdWords audit that I was gonna do for them at the same price and see if I can get a finder's fee. I'll take a page from John's playbook.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I might still make a little bit of money out of it, but yeah, it's just I this week I've been really struggling with kind of feeling overcommitted and not what I'm trying to figure out now is like how do I get the 30,000 foot view of all my projects so that I know, okay, yeah, I can commit to this deadline, and it's been like I feel like I'm just like saying yes to too many things.
I know that feeling entirely.
Yeah, and I don't have a good system in place right now to tell me, okay, well you just committed to 10 things that are all due 2 months from now. I don't have like a good view of how much work I have spaced out over the next few weeks and months.
If only you had like an apprentice that you could just demand things of that need to be done the next day. That would solve your problem.
That would solve my problem. So I've gotten this week I got a lead on a guy who is this guy is he is in Dan Kennedy's group. He was named the marketer of the year. So like basically when I was weighing this software client versus like I really want to go after this guy and he's got a network. He's actually like he publishes newsletters. So he's actually somebody that could potentially bring me a ton of other clients. So basically for me it was a decision between going after him or going with this other company that I was pretty close to closing a deal with, and it's like a no-brainer because he's more that's the direction that I want to go.
Yeah.
But I don't have a good sense for what I can commit to with him. If he wants me to write 10 emails in the next 2 weeks, I definitely can't do that. I don't know if I could do that in a month. I'm still trying to figure out like how much, like what my bandwidth is basically. I just don't have a good sense for that. So I am starting to track my time. I'm going to do that for at least a month and just be really, really rigorous about it. Do you guys have any, like, you guys have all consulted and stuff, do you have any tips on, like, how do you get the, I need to see my pipeline and, like, what I've committed to, and, like, see it all, you know, for 6 months, because I honestly, I could probably start booking stuff at least 3 months out at this point.
I wouldn't.
But, well,
no, really, I wouldn't.
Okay, why is that?
Because the work that somebody needs in 3 to 6 months is speculative. It's great to build the relationship now.
Yeah.
And to have them in the pipeline for 3 to 6 months from now. But I would not commit to anything. I would not sign contracts. I wouldn't do any of that until it comes down to, okay, I'm ending this project with this client. Now I have time for you. That's when I would sign the deals.
So how far out should I sign things then? How far out should I plan things?
I typically did 1 month ahead.
1 month ahead.
With 2 to 4 months ahead in speculation. Let's see where I am, because there were a large number of times where I said, okay, in 6 months I'll be done with this project and I'll get onto yours. And then when that date came along, I had to email them back and say, hey, sorry, this is going on for another 2 months. I'm going to have to push you back. Or I email them and they say, oh, we actually didn't need that. We don't need it at all anymore.
Yep. Or the other one is that, we found somebody else to do it.
Right. We found somebody else to do it, so we don't need you anymore.
An enterprise client is an exception, though, because that takes sometimes 2 to 4 months lead time.
Yeah. If you're dealing with a very large enterprise, it took me 3 months to get into Microsoft, for example.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The only other thing I can see with the way you describe your work is that if you want to book somebody out for a few months and then, so they're a month or 2 out, and then you turn around and you say, I'm going to spend a couple hours every week doing the research that I need to do so that I'm familiar with your business or business area, and then we'll nail it in 2 months.
Yeah,
like
and you can start charging for that now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little concerned. Yeah, I see what you're saying. What I'm concerned about is right now I have like four major, 4 projects kind of going, and it's too much.
Yep.
What I need to be, where I need to be at is like where I have 1 or possibly 2 bigger retainer clients. Like I've overcommitted my current retainer. I've overcommitted. Like I've overpromised, and I'll have to deal with that. So I'll figure out how to make it work. But I'm basically underpriced on it. So I need to, like, if I have like 1 or 2 retainer clients, that's going to eat up about at least 60 to 80% of my available time.
If you have 1 or 2 retainer clients, that should be providing 60 to 80% of your income, if not 100% of your income.
Yeah. Right.
Those retainers should be paying your monthly income, and then everything else is because you want to live a more comfortable life.
Yeah, but it really depends on the type of work you're doing, the types of clients that are out there for the type of work you're doing, and things like that. So I don't think you've made major mistakes. I think you just had to figure out what kind of a load you really want. And so now that you're there, make sure you deliver, make sure you get testimonials if you can, and then, just kind of aim for where you think you need to be.
And one strategy that I've always liked is that you just keep on raising your don't let anyone go, just raise the price. So overcommit now, but overcommit at high prices. So every time you have to, you're fully committed now. So if you have an opportunity right now, don't turn them down. Just charge them a really, really high price.
A price where you cannot say no.
Yeah, a price where you're willing to work the extra 10 hours or 20 hours this week and lose sleep. And then what will happen is you'll do that over time. You'll be making the extra money, which will give you time for gaps in your pipeline when they come up. because it's opportunistic, right? Like this, like you want to plan your pipeline like 3 months in advance, but you can't because of what Derek said. It doesn't make sense, but what's going to happen is you're going to have to live with the risk of having 1 month in your pipeline, and then 1 month you're going to have a totally empty pipeline.
Yeah.
And so so what you have to make sure though is you kind of want to slot those people back 3 months, but you can't do that. Instead, what you have to do is price them very high and work really hard when you have the opportunities, and then knowing that you're going to have gap time. There's just
I don't know that I'm going to have gap time, honestly.
If you don't, then just keep on jacking the prices like crazy.
Yeah.
Because as you become more and more overcommitted, just keep jacking the price more and more. So,
I'm basically there now. I mean, I'm already going to probably, I talked to a guy yesterday about doing a landing page for his software product, and I'm probably going to quote him at least $3,500.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
See, if you get to the point where you can jack the price so high up that even if you're overcommitted, don't ever turn anyone down. Just jack the price up. And if you get to that point, then you could get to the point where you have someone you've already committed to, and you could literally hand them back their money and say, sorry, something came up. Here's your money.
I'm actually there now. I mean, honestly, I've thought about doing that with a couple of my clients now, and I am not going to, but it's, I don't need the money. So it's nice, to be in that position where I honestly don't care.
For that landing page, charge them $5,000. Don't even just $5,000. Because
is that what you paid for yours, or?
For my Backbone plugins ebook, Momoko did that for me at a discount of. Yeah. Crap, I can't remember what it was. It was a severely reduced discount.
I think it was like $1,000 or so that you paid.
Yeah, it was ridiculously cheap, but it was easily worth $5,000. I've made $10,000 off of that page since she put it up there.
Yeah, the other thing though
I paid her $5,000 for the homepage of Watch Me Code.
If you ask that and you keep getting no's and you don't get any yeses, you're too high.
Yeah.
But at this point, since you're fully booked anyway, your risk is really low to do that. So figure out where people are willing to go. The other thing is that if people are willing to pay a higher price, they're usually better clients.
Yeah.
Right. Not always, but almost always they're better clients because they're willing to work with you, they recognize your value, and they'll treat you like an expert instead of a commodity or a workhorse.
Yeah. Right. I think the price ranges that I'm in now, I'm only getting those people, at least so far. Like everybody that I've worked with so far has been really good to work with. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm already, the bottom feeders.
Well, I don't think that's because of your price range, quite honestly. I think that's because of your referrals.
Yeah, that's where you're getting them from. But
so I think you have a lot of room to grow for pricing before you start getting people off the street that are of that caliber.
Right.
Yep. But yeah, play with your pricing. I think John is mostly right on. If you absolutely can't take them on, then yeah, tell them no or tell them not right now. I am fully behind that. But if there's some price that you're willing to do it at because it's just insane money, then ask them for it.
Yeah. It would have to be because right now I'm still working 50 plus hours a week, and I want to start to ratchet that back a little bit because I'm feeling I'm definitely redlining here.
Dude, you should be working 30 hours a week or less.
Yeah, I know. That's where I want to go.
No, I'm serious. 30 hours of billable client work every week is
this isn't
or 20.
This isn't billable. I don't because it's all project based, so I don't have the distinction between billable and non-billable. But I would say there's productive and non-productive, right?
Derek's been reading 4-Hour Work Week. Tim Ferriss.
But I'm putting in my ratio of productive time to administrative overhead. I'm probably doing an hour or an hour and a half of administrative stuff a day at most, and I'm cranking pretty good on other stuff productive work. Yeah. So I definitely need to start dropping that back. But just right now, between my 2 retainer clients, That's like basically all the. I could easily fill my like a 40-hour work week 4 times.
Yeah.
4 times a month with just that retainer work. The one of them I'm like severely underpriced, and I'm gonna finish up my commitment to that one and then just not renew it because it's not
ask for a higher price. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just not worth my time. This other guy, the newsletter publisher, that guy could be. I could easily, he could be like a $10,000 a month client for me easily, because he's probably got his business. I'm sure is at least 7 figures, if not 8. So I want to go after big fish like that. It's the same amount of work. It's the same freaking amount of work. It's just a different client. So I can't. I just want to be careful. I don't burn myself out in the meantime.
Yep.
Yeah, that's funny though. Yeah, I mean, you're always going to be working ridiculous hours, though. Like just.
I don't think that's true because like a lot of copywriters take. A lot of copywriters take 6 months off. I mean, if you can get to a point, where.
Well, taking 6 months off, yes.
Yeah.
But while you're working.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think they work like insane, like 100 hours a week or anything. Like they're.
So just as some perspective, when I was doing consulting full time, my goal was 25 hours a week or less of billable time.
Billable time.
Yeah.
But just as a roundtable, right? Chuck, how many hours a week do you work on average?
Billable?
No,
I
just
don't have a client right now.
Just total.
Total? Probably 50 or 60.
How about you, Derek?
I put in about 20 hours a week for my client, and then probably 5 to 10 hours a week on Watch Me Code. And then I'm always doing something, learning and building samples and other things. So I legitimately put in 50 or 60 hours a week of what I consider work, but what I consider work is also play.
I see. Yeah. I'm probably about 50 to 60, and normally, except that I take a few months off, but then with a couple of days.
I mean, I certainly don't work 10-hour days. I take care of the kids in the morning. I take care of them in the evening. I put them to bed. I do all these things, but then I sit down and read articles for 2 hours and write sample code and do research and things that I consider that are fun, but it's screen time essentially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that you're going to be working more than you think. But
I know a lot of copywriters though that are working 20 or 30 hours a week, like legitimately working 20 or 30 hours a week, and making 6 figures plus. I mean, it's not. It's the level of. I mean, it's just the level of income that you can generate in this particular field.
I guess that's.
I think within a year I'm going to be. I should be able to be in the 20 grand a month range, making or working 40 hours a week or less.
Oh yeah, less than that. Less than 40, 30 hours a week.
I think that's completely. I mean, I know a guy who won't even talk to you unless you're willing to pay him $50,000 for a landing page plus 3% of the gross sales.
Wow,
so,
that's crazy.
And and actually, I'm like friends with this guy, so it's the scale that you can get to. I just have to get.
It's a very expensive friend. Here's $50,000. Let's talk for an hour. Here's $50,000. Let's have lunch.
I don't know if I need any more landing pages. Like.
Yeah. I mean, It's going to be a long time before I get to that level, but if I can get to the level where I'm charging $5,000 or $10,000 for a landing page, then one a month is all I need to live comfortably. So.
Yeah. I guess it's canon. It's I guess we'll see what happens, but like just because you can live off of it doesn't mean that you do.
Well, I mean, right now
I'm about to keep the gears turning. That's like.
So I had a friend that I did some contracting with for about a year, and the client was severely underpaying us. I talked him into giving me a little bit more than my other friend, but my other friend was like, I don't need more than, I think he was making like 50 or 60,000 a year off of that client at the time. He's like, I don't need more than this. I don't care if I make more than this. I'm happy. This is a comfortable life for me. And that was it. That's what he wanted to do. And so he was perfectly fine doing that. He knew he could make twice that somewhere else, but he didn't want to. He didn't care. It's not what he needed. It's not the way he wanted to live his life.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I guess I don't fall into that category.
Me either.
Because I don't have to work, but I'm working, so.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't really have a desire not to work, but I have a desire to work less than I'm working right now.
Yeah.
I have a desire to not run 3 businesses.
Yeah.
And oh great, I just got an email from somebody that wants me to help them out and get them signed up on Signal Leaf. Actually, I had one of those yesterday as well. So this is a legitimate business, but I can't do it anymore.
Yep.
All right, should we wrap this up? I guess we're a little bit.
Thoughts for the week?
Oh, the landing page first.
Oh yeah.
People can sign up, right? They can.
Right. No, we haven't sent that email yet.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'd like to volunteer Josh to send that email since he's the email.
I noticed that. I noticed that coming across. Yes, I will do that at some point, but I'm not going to commit to a deadline at this point.
Or John, since John doesn't want to work. No, you write really good emails though. I really like your weekly emails for your mailing list. I think are pretty phenomenal. But yeah, we have the Entreprogrammers Retreat 2015. We have an Eventbrite page for it. We will email that to the mailing list. So get onto entreprogrammers.com/retreat2015. Sign up for that mailing list, and we will send out the email this week for how to sign up for the retreat. How to give us money.
It'll be an autoresponder, so you'll get it no matter when you sign up.
As soon as you sign up, we'll send out an initial email to people that are on the list, and then we'll set up an autoresponder. So as soon as you sign up, you'll get the link to go throw money at us for an expensively awesome time in Mexico.
Yeah. All right. So
all right. I have no thought for the week since I'm all pissed off and killing things.
I mean, I think mine is actually going to be kill things.
Yeah.
I mean, simplify.
Everything is killable.
Mine would be damage control. Like when you can't control everything, at least do damage control. Like don't go completely off the rails. Like don't just. I mean, obviously, like it makes sense to shut down Signal Leaf in this case, but like don't just like in a fit of rage, like stop doing things. Like just like reduce.
No, this has been 2 years.
Oh yeah. I'm not talking about that. Yeah.
This is certainly not a. I'm pissed off today, so let's kill it. This is 2 years worth of impotence.
But yeah, I was thinking about that today because I was thinking, gosh, I don't really feel like writing blog posts and stuff while I'm out. Maybe I should just shut this all down. And then I'm thinking, no, wait a minute. Like the better, smarter thing to do would be to like just stop writing for 3 months and then come back, not to just say shut down. So damage control is a big thing. Same thing with my workouts and stuff. I've been just thinking, okay, just try not to do damage, or to reduce that. So.
Yep. So mine is, and this is something I've been thinking about a lot. We didn't get a whole lot of time to go into it, but that's fine. Is just thinking about what I want. Like, where do I want to be in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years? And, a lot of times people talk about this and then they give you really bad advice as to how to figure that out. And ultimately, my answer was always, well, ask me in a year, 3 years, or 5 years, because I'll know what I want then, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a destination in mind, then you're going to wind up wherever somebody else wants you. And so it doesn't have to be a permanent plan. You don't have to commit to, you don't have to be stuck with that plan if something changes. But, I mean, just figuring out where you want to go and then doing what it takes to be there. So, and then, you adjust the plan as you go. But the reason that that's important is then you know what to say yes to and what to say no to.
Yep.
And, you need to, we're all married men, you need to get your wife on board with that. Where does she want to be in 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years? What's important to her? What's kind of the ideal situation or setup for her, and how do your vision and her vision coincide? And then, move ahead from there. And then you can make the calls. Then you can say, okay, we want to be in this place. So what do we have to do? And then you can look at things from that lens and say, is this going to get me there? And if it's a no, then the answer to that is no. And if it's a yes, then the answer to that is yes, or it may be, but I have these other things going on, so will this get me there better, faster, or, without as many trade-offs as something else? And so what else do I have to kill to make this a possibility? And I think that's kind of the discussion we're having here, but, for me, it kind of came down to that, what do I want?
Yep.
And how do I get it?
So there's a book I'm trying to find on my bookshelf, but I don't see it, called Three Major Questions or something like that for a Family by Patrick Lencioni.
Mm-hmm.
Really good book, and the entire book is exactly what you just said. Let me see
I joined a second mastermind group, and we're reading Essentialism. So
nice, yeah.
So that was where some of our conversation went the other day. So
cool.
Three Big Questions for a Frantic Family: A Leadership Fable About Restoring Sanity by Patrick Lencioni. It's a really good book. I read it a number of years ago. It's exactly what you just said. All right, so I do have one, actually. Commit to your decisions. Because I'm sitting here saying, okay, Signal Leaf is gone, but I'm the kind of weasel that would say that and then not do anything about it.
It's because someone just texted you and wants help. You're like, I got a new customer.
Yeah, exactly. There are so many reasons for me not to do it.
Signal Leaf lives.
I mean, I could find 1,000 reasons to keep it living, but I need to commit to your decisions until you find sufficient evidence to make your decision invalid.
Yeah, I agree. All right, guys. Next time then.
Yep. See ya.
All right.
See ya.
Yeah.